Good morning. It is Monday, March the 31st of 2025. The sun is shining here in north central Wisconsin. Yep, the sun is back after a rather interesting weather weekend. Fair skies, 25 degrees right now in downtown Wausau. I am Chad Holmes. We are at the corner of Washington Street and North 3rd Street in downtown Wausau, our WXCO studios, and it is the Monday edition of the Chad Holmes Show on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. To begin with, actually, we are not on 98.9 WXCO currently. The transmitter, there appears to be a power issue at our transmitter, which is being worked on at this time. So right now, not on 98.9 FM, but we are still on 1230 WXCO AM. We are also still online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO. You can hear us there and on the Civic Media app. So again, apologies for those of you who may have been searching earlier on 98.9 to get our broadcast. Glad you're able to find us on the AM dial and online as well. So again, we are working on that issue and hoping to have that fixed sooner rather than later here this morning. Coming up today at 8:21, in about 13 minutes or so, we'll be talking to our meteorologist, Brittney Merlot. It was, as I said, a very interesting weather weekend, and not really a great weather weekend when you say interesting. But again, we saw a lot. We saw some heavy rains. We saw some flooding. We saw some freezing rain. We saw some snow. It was all there over the last couple of days. And in fact, the winter-like weather conditions are not done. We're in the midst of a little respite right now. And starting tomorrow night, there could be the possibility of more of that ugly stuff. So we'll get all the details from Brittney Merlot coming up at 8:21 this morning. At 9:06 this morning, we will get an opportunity to talk to a person that's been in the news quite a bit recently. One of the candidates for the state Supreme Court, Judge Susan Crawford. Judge Crawford on the ballot tomorrow. Yep, tomorrow is Election Day. And Judge Crawford going up against former Wisconsin Attorney General Brad Schimmel in a race that has been watched very closely, not just here in Wisconsin, but throughout the country. Elon Musk has made this his next target in his Buy Democracy tour. A lot of disturbing aspects to what's going on, really, to be honest with you. And we're going to try to talk about the stakes and the issues in this race with Judge Susan Crawford coming up at 9:06 this morning, starting off hour number 2 of the program. Then at 9:34 this morning, we will get an opportunity to bring in 5. They keep bringing in more and more, I tell you. It's like we only have 3 microphones, but we're going to try to make it all work. 5 different members of the cast of the Wausau West Theater's all my sons, as coming up this week. Later this week, we will be. That show will be going on. I'm a little discombobulated with all the stuff that's going on here this morning with our 98.9 signal and a whole bunch more. But again, all my sons, the Arthur Miller Classics being performed by the Wausau West Theater coming up this coming weekend. And again, we'll get a chance to talk to 5 members of the cast of All My Sons. Again, their show will be coming up April 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That is on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 7 p.m. and then Sunday at 2 p.m. at the Wausau West Auditorium. A really great show. It's a classic show. And again, we'll get 5 of those performers with us coming up at 9:34 this morning here on the program. So again, lots on the plate, lots going on. You try to get into the new work week, slowly but surely. But we've been thrown into the deep end here this morning. And again, we will try to get 98.9 back up as quickly as possible here this morning. But also coming up at the very end of the program, we'll have our daily history lesson. That'll be at 9:51. And then we'll talk about some of the famous events that have occurred on this date in history. We'll talk about some of the celebrity birthdays. We'll talk about some of the special events being acknowledged today. And at about 9:56 or so, we will wrap up our program with our number for the day quiz. And of course, the person that takes the number for the day quiz is Ian Welsh. He is sitting across the way behind the glass. Good morning, Ian.
Good morning, Jen. I know how it is. In case of the Mondays, it's hard to get back into the week.
How did your weekend go? Stayed out of the ditches?
Yep. But thankfully, I didn't have to. Well, on Saturday, I didn't have to travel too far, and I was able to get my work at the other radio station accomplished with no issues. Sunday, it was just a good. I didn't have to go anywhere. I parked in the garage, so I didn't have to deal with all the ice and snow on my car. And I was able to just, enjoy the Sunday in spite of the weather. I was able to complete a puzzle, the goofy puzzle I talked about last week that we started working on earlier last week. I was able to finish it yesterday. And it was a very impressive puzzle and a good way to kill time as well. Plus, I was able to, finish my latest book I've been working on, and I was able to be relaxed, and I was able to just spend some good quality time with my family, and we were all safe, and that's the important thing.
Very good.
Hopefully, everybody else was safe as well. If you did have to drive yesterday, I hope you were very careful.
Absolutely. And even right now, I mean, especially on the side roads, they're still very, very icy, very, very slick. Again, a circumstance where after the freezing rain, we got some snow. So, I mean, you may see some snow. They may then plowed it away. But under that snow was still some ice. And in fact, as you walk, when you get out of your car, if you're walking maybe a block or somewhere, some sort of distance to wherever you're headed, make sure that you're aware of that. Make sure that you don't hit the ice and slip and fall down and injure yourself. So there's a lot going on. And as I said, right now, very pleasant, sunny skies. Temperature will warm up a little bit. But then by the time we get to tomorrow evening, chance of some more winter-like weather. I mean, we're wrapping up the month of month of March.
It's not going by that fast.
I know, absolutely. But wrapping up March with a lot of winter-like conditions. But then tomorrow night, it looks as though, and again, we'll find out the details, but again, accumulating snow here in north central Wisconsin.
Yep.
Then Wednesday, rain and snow mixture again. Man, oh man, I just, we went through a winter without a whole lot of snow, and I think this was the third significant amount of snow. We may get a fourth here since the start of March. And
I was watching it. I was watching it on my window yesterday, I mean, first it started off as a rain, which honestly would have been fine if it stayed like that the whole day, but no, it did not. And it switched over to freezing rain, and it looked like hail for a little bit. And then in the evening, I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's snowing!" So we managed to get like all three major like precipitations on the same day over the course of a few hours.
Right. Hey, everybody, remember tomorrow is election day. As I said, we'll get a chance to talk to Judge Susan Crawford coming up in about an hour at 9:06. But I wanted to note as well, make sure that tomorrow night when the polls close, the polls will be open until 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. And make sure that after the polls close, you tune in here on Civic Media, WXCO, and every station on the Talk Network of the Civic Media Radio Network will have special election night coverage. We'll get results. We'll get analysis that you won't find anywhere else. So again, listen to election night results, our spring election, the state Supreme Court race. We have the race for the superintendent for the State Department of Public Instruction. We have a statewide referendum. We have local school board and school referendum questions out there. We have here in central Wisconsin local races, including the Village of Weston election. So a lot on the line, a lot on the ballot. Sometimes the spring election can be a bit of a sleepy election. Not in this case. Very important election. And make sure you tune in beginning at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. And for all the results and the analysis from elections around the state. So again, tune in here on 98.9 WXCO, 1230 WXCO, and our other Civic Media news talk stations, and also online and on the app as well. So again, it should be I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I really don't. It's important election, but it's really up in the air. We saw Elon Musk pay a visit to the state last night, and again, lots going on, but you'll get the information and the analysis you need right here on Civic Media.
Mm-hmm.
And some more information you need is all about the weather. And we're going to get the weather information you need coming up in just over 2 minutes. Meteorologist Brittney Merlot will join us right here on WXCO.
Morning, Brittany.
Good morning. How are you?
Pretty good. The weekend is over. The sun is out, and hopefully things will get a little better around here.
For real. Did you lose power at all?
Thankfully, no. We did not lose power, but my family and I didn't have to go anywhere yesterday. Well, except for my dad, because he had to go to his shop and take care of some golf items he sold. But my dad's a careful driver, so I trust him to be safe out there. But thankfully, I didn't have to go anywhere.
Right.
Boy.
Yuck.
It's crazy how I was looking yesterday morning. I mean, I look at the trees outside, and it looks like they're covered in frosting because they were so shiny and with ice.
Yeah. Went for a walk in the woods a little bit, and the ice was just dripping and falling off. It was crazy.
At least the temperature is not that bad right now.
True. I think the sun just helps.
Yeah.
I'm like, yay, it's over.
At least I heard that by the end of the week, it's supposed to get a little warmer. So that's something to look
Yeah.
forward to.
Step right up and don't be shy, because you will not believe your eyes. She's right here behind the glass. You're gonna like her, because she's got class.
Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. And I'm just used to saying it that way. Again, as I noted at the start of the program, because of the storms over the weekend, the ice and everything else, our transmitter at 98.9 has been knocked down. We're working on fixing the issue. So right now we're on 1230 WXCO. Also, again, you can get us online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. So again, I'm glad we put the note out there. Hopefully people notice that and they are tuned in on different ways of getting our programming. But again, we hope to have 98.9 back up and running sooner rather than later. Also, again, if you'd like to join us by giving us a call or a text, the number is 715-382-9297. That's 715-382-9297 to join us here on this sunny Monday morning. But again, the ice is out there. The snow is still on the ground, and it's amazing this month of March. We're finally to the end of it, the final day of March. But even as we head towards April, a taste of winter is going to stick around. And the person that's been, I'm sure, very busy with the weather the last couple of days, and is going to stay, I think, pretty busy with the weather for the next couple of days as well, our meteorologist, Brittney Merlot. Brittney, good morning.
Ooh, good morning, Central Wisconsin. How are you doing?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's when you turn on your radio and hear the static because the ice knocked us down here at 98.9. It's been, again, a little stressed out, but I think probably other people as well, because we saw it all this weekend, didn't we?
We did. I mean, I have been talking to people that saw trees snapping, cracking, sounding like gunshots in the woods. I mean, branches falling down, crashing into their cars, property, power lines down over streets, trees sagging and falling onto streets. It looks like a maze trying to get through the North Woods. I mean, scary, scary stuff. Here in Wausau, we picked up a 1/4 inch of ice. That's what was measured on every single branch, power line, everything, or tower. And then it flipped yesterday evening to heavy, wet snow and froze all of that precipitation. And we picked up about 3 to 4 inches of snowfall here into the Wausau Weston area. And in Marathon County right now, there are still 3,000 of us without power. Same numbers into Portage County. Langlade County, there are 13,000 customers still without power, as well as 10,000 in Forest, Florence, and Oneida each. So a lot of us going through heck right now. I mean, the Hodag Dome collapsed overnight. Highway 64 was closed. There was a car crash up in Mercer off of 51 that resulted in a death. We've got the Wisconsin River flooding. It's up about 2 to 3 feet from its banks. We've also got the Big Rib River flooding. So Oak Island Park, DC Everest Park, and areas in Marathon City are seeing rising waters. It has been a crazy weekend. I'm so glad the sun is shining and we get a day of rest right now.
Well, the thing about it, though, is as we get into the month of April, and of course tomorrow, big day with election day, but then people do their voting, and then by the time you get to tomorrow night, after the polls close, we're going to get more winter-like weather, aren't we?
Yep, we sure are. Round number 2, unfortunately. So today, breezy. High temperatures will be about 37 degrees, so just a teeny tiny bit above freezing, but the sun is out. Tomorrow we'll see the sun to start, then the clouds increase through the afternoon. We're looking at snow starting by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So moving in kind of early, and it'll be snow through the evening, turning to a wintry mix of freezing rain. Yes, one more time. Ice is in the forecast for tomorrow, or I'm sorry, Wednesday morning. And then that flips to regular rain after 10 o'clock Wednesday. And then we're just looking at regular rain throughout the afternoon as that system departs. Behind it, sunshine, nothing going on for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So once we get through the next storm, we've got a little dry stretch with temperatures going to be hovering in those low to upper 40s. So that's what we get when we get through it all. But another dose of snow again tomorrow evening and a wintry mix Wednesday morning.
At least there's something to look forward to on the weekend.
I know, finally, because this put us all inside this weekend. I don't think anyone did anything, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a stinks.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does. I mean, this time of year to be going through all this, it's just been pretty crazy. But again, I mean, it's Wisconsin. It is. I mean, Wisconsin
Yeah.
weather. But this month of March has just been so unusual. I can say I will not be sad to have it in the rear view mirror starting tomorrow.
Even I'm ready for summer. I'm ready. Okay, after an ice storm, I'm done. Let's go.
All right. Well, what are the details here for the early week forecast?
All right. So today, bright, beautiful, sunny, still a little breezy with those winds crisp out of the northwest. Highs today will hit the upper 30s. We do crash pretty cold overnight, down to the mid-teens. So a cold start tomorrow, breezy still, highs in the upper 30s. Snow starts after 4 o'clock and continues through the evening, flips to a wintry mix on Wednesday morning, and then over to all rain by the afternoon. Highs will be in the mid-40s on Wednesday. Then we hold on to the mid-40s with plenty of sunshine on Thursday, and then the upper 40s for the weekend. I like it.
Sounds much, much better. Well,
Yes.
again, we will keep an eye on what's going on with this next system starting tomorrow evening. I'm sure you and the rest of the staff will be on it as well. But
Yeah.
let's enjoy a little sunshine here today and take a deep breath because, again, that was a nasty weekend. Boy, oh boy.
I agree. Yeah.
Hey, thanks a lot, Brittany. Have a great Monday. We'll catch you again tomorrow.
Bye,
You
Brittany.
too. Bye, guys.
Brittney Merlot, our meteorologist, joins us at this time every morning here on 98.9 WXCO. Right now, fair skies, 25 degrees. Winds are out of the northwest at 9 miles per hour. Wind chill of 16. The dew point is 17 degrees. Relative humidity of 72%. The barometer at 29.88 inches and a visibility of 10 miles. Got an information update coming up. News, weather, sports, entertainment, and then don't forget, at 9:06, we'll be joined by Judge Susan Crawford, talk about the big Supreme Court race tomorrow. And then at 9:34, members of the cast of All My Sons. That'll be staged at Wausau West High School coming up this weekend. With Ian Welsh, I'm Chad Holmes. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
Soft to a high. Winds are circles within the night.
Hello there, this is James.
Melissa,
Chad.
and Seth, inviting you to come work with us. Civic Media is looking for a full-time sales professional to work with existing and new broadcast and digital media clients.
we're a fast-growing company that offers competitive wages, benefits, a relaxed working environment that focuses on quality of life and includes a team of support to reach our shared goals.
Join us in continuing what we have done for 80 years. Be a part of the community, put into the community, celebrate community.
Find out more by contacting Chuck Gennaro at 715-935-8030 or email chuck.gennaro@civicmedia.us. All inquiries are confidential. Civic Media Incorporated is an equal opportunity employer, and we look forward to you joining us.
Hey, Wisconsin, it's construction season, and the Wisconsin DOT wants to help you safely navigate work zones. Check 511wi.gov or download the app for road work or closures on your route. Know before you go with 511 Wisconsin, sponsored by the Wisconsin DOT.
If you want me, you can find me left of center off of the strip. In the outskirts and in the fringes, in the corner out of the grip. If you want me, you can find me left of center off of the strip. In the outskirts and in the fringes, in the corner out of the grip. When they ask me, what are you looking at? I always answer, nothing much, not much. I think they know that I'm looking at them. I think they think I must be out of touch, but I'm only in the outskirts and in the fringes, on the edge. And
Chad Home Show, 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. Again, we are suffering some issues with our signal on 98.9 FM this morning after all that weather that came through this weekend, and obviously the ice causing some issues, and working on that problem as we speak. But again, you can still catch us on the AM dial at 1230 WXCO, 1230 AM. You can also catch us again as well online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app as well. And again, apologize for that. Working on that issue, and hopefully that 98.9 will be back up sooner rather than later. Again, you can join us by calling or texting us at 715-382-9297. That's 715-382-9297. And again, we will be joined by Judge Susan Crawford, candidate for the Wisconsin State Supreme Court in the election tomorrow. She'll be with us at 9:06, and at 9:34, we again will be joined by 5 members of the cast of All My Sons, the Arthur Miller Classic that will be staged at Wausau West High School and in their auditorium on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 7 p.m. And then again on Sunday as well. Matinee performance coming up on Sunday at 2 p.m. So again, All My Sons by Arthur Miller at Wausau West Auditorium, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 7, Sunday at 2. And we'll talk all about that with members of the cast at 9:34 this morning. Well, last night, a couple of new millionaires were announced in the state of Wisconsin. Elon
I heard
Musk.
them talking about this as we were during the commercial break. They were going to talk about, it's called Musk a Bucks. I'm like, really? That's a thing now?
Yes, it is, because Elon is out there giving money to try and somehow tilt the election.
Yeah.
But he did come to Wisconsin yesterday and handed out a pair of $1 million checks to 2 voters. He also promised smaller payments to others who help elect a conservative candidate to the state's top court in a closely watched election. The Tesla CEO and top advisor to President Donald Trump handed out oversized checks at a rally in Green Bay as he sought to drum up enthusiasm for a state Supreme Court election that is already the most expensive judicial race in U.S. history. Musk said he would also pay supporters $20 for every voter that they recruit over the next 2 days.
Yeah, honestly, I think the thing that really annoys me about this is that, he just gives this money away to people to try and buy their votes. And like, it doesn't even matter to him because he has all this money. It's like a drop in the bucket. I mean, he can give away $1 million checks and give $20 to people who come to the cause. And he's like, that's not going to affect me. I got plenty of money saved up. It's like, that is just morally and ethically wrong. I'm sorry, but that's all like it is.
He was
wrong.
He was trying as well to put into the minds of his supporters that they need to work harder because perhaps Crawford is running ahead of Schimmel. I'm not sure about that. Maybe he's just trying to light a fire under the right-wing supporters. Musk said at the rally last night, we are actually in serious danger of losing the election. He says we've got to pull a rabbit out of a hat. Well, back in the day, maybe we had to pull a rabbit out of the hat, but in this day and age, he just has to write another big check as he tries to buy elections over and over again. And of course, this is a vital election. And the thing about it is, it's going to affect the people that live here in Wisconsin, not Elon Musk. Well, maybe it could, because actually it's a case that Musk is involved in. But for the most part, it still is something that will be concerning of us who live here in Wisconsin more than Elon Musk. And again, it was a long time coming when Justice Janet Protasewicz won the last state Supreme Court election a couple of years ago. And it, for the first time in well over a decade, gave a ideological majority to those left of center. Obviously very important because we've seen lots of important cases come in front of our courts in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
And when you've seen cases such as giving the President of the United States unlimited power, that the United States Supreme Court gave in deference to Donald J. Trump. We had an election in 2020 where it came within a razor thin 4-3 vote, where one of the conservative justices, Brian Hagedorn, sided with the liberals to say no to Donald Trump in his attempt to overturn the presidential election here in the state of Wisconsin. And also, we are now 2 months and 11 days into Trump 2.0, second term of Donald Trump. And to say that it has been different than the first, I think, is an understatement. Donald Trump has come into office trying to tip over everything in the United States government, trying to change the United States and its government into his own warped image. And this election, one state, technically nonpartisan, yet is being looked at, and I think rightly looked at, as perhaps an early snapshot on how a state that was close last November, but that did go to Donald Trump, one of those swing states in the 2024 presidential election that gave him the White House back. How is the current chaos and change that is being put forward by Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and others in the new Trump administration playing to the people? Are we going to see a pushback against Donald Trump? Are we going to see a pushback against what Musk is doing? And I do think that while it really shouldn't matter in terms of a state judicial race, I do think it will matter. And I think it's going to be interesting. If Brad Schimmel tomorrow evening, sometime late tomorrow night, it comes down the line that Brad Schimmel won this election, you know that folks like Trump and Musk are going to take all the credit for it. And frankly, rightly they should. I mean, Elon Musk is putting in, $26 million at this point, could be even more by the time all is said and done.
Donald Trump and his endorsement is being used by Brad Schimmel over and over again in Schimmel's late advertising blitz. So if Schimmel does pull this one out, I would say that Donald Trump and Elon Musk deserve to take some bows. I think that they would be major reasons for that victory. If Susan Crawford wins this election, I would say that it is, to a certain extent, repudiation of what has been done in the last 2.5 months. I would say you can't take it too far because in recent elections such as this, the Democrats have been successful. Like I said, the Janet Protasewicz election. If you look at recent statewide elections, despite the loss in the presidential race last year, Democrats have been winning by a great majority the races against Republicans in governorships, Senate races recently, running ahead of the Republicans. So if Crawford wins, that would continue that pattern as well. But again, this election is different.
Crucial, I would say.
It's crucial, but it's much different. Yes, we saw big money in the last race between Protasewicz and Kelly, the last state Supreme Court race. We've seen massive amounts of money last year in the Senate race between U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin and Eric Hovde.
Yep.
We've seen
lots of ads with Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
Yeah, and then Kamala Harris. Yeah,
there was no regulation, and it was just like a bombardment of ads designed to get people to be afraid of and use negative reinforcement to, play on people's fears and produce a certain outcome.
But I would say that this election is different. It is the continuation of the Musk effect. And I'm curious to see how long this goes. I'm curious to see how long Elon Musk, because, if he wants to, he's got the money to continue along this line for quite a long time. Yeah. But I wonder if there will be a backlash, if Elon Musk sees people pushing back against his unlimited spending in order to put his hand on the scales of these elections, whether or not he would see himself as being actually a negative to the people that he's trying to help. I'll be curious to see if there is any kind of push to see changes in our campaign funding laws. I did see over the weekend a United States senator trying to push forward the start of the process to overturn Citizens United again, to try to get some sort of constitutional amendment passed. Obviously, it's a very difficult struggle, but you have to try. You have to get out there and start this process.
The only true failure is when you stop trying.
You cannot continue just to say, well, it's just the way it is. We have a majority of conservatives on the Supreme Court. We have a majority of conservatives in the United States Senate and the United States House. So we're just going to hold our fire here. And unfortunately, I see that a lot. It appears with guys like Schumer. No, you have to come out there with your own positive ideas and push against the ideas that you disagree with from the right. But just saying, no, there have to be compromise. You don't compromise with fascists. You have to put out your own ideas. That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about compromise right now. You're talking about a platform of ideas from the left that say, hey, this is what we believe in, not what the fascists believe in. So that's, no, you don't compromise with fascism. You fight it.
Yeah.
So again, we're down to the last 2 days. We'll know what the results are tomorrow night. And of course, again, special live election night coverage begins at 8 p.m. right here on WXCO and on the Civic Media Radio Network. The time is 8:49. We'll be right back here on 98.9 WXCO.
a ringing in my head that keeps me awake at night. Sometimes I don't know what is right. Today I saw a car push my little dog under its wheel. It did not even stop it to spit on
Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app, again, coming up in just a few minutes at 9:06. Starting off the second hour, we'll have an opportunity to speak to Judge Susan Crawford. Again, she's on the ballot. Very important race coming up tomorrow. In fact, I mean, many of you have voted early. I know that. I have not voted yet. I will be voting tomorrow.
Me too.
Ian, you better be voting tomorrow.
Yes, I will. I promise I will. As soon as the show is done tomorrow, I'm gonna go over and vote right away so I don't forget. Gotta do it early.
I'm going to be reminding you. So,
And speaking of Susan Crawford, our friend Cornell from Merrill has a few things he'd like to share about Susan Crawford.
Good morning, Cornell. What's on your mind?
Well, it was nice to meet her, and we're going down the stretch. I've been making calls around people Saturday and Sunday, and some of the people are quite upset with this Musk deal that they say he should go to prison.
I think it would have been nice to have somebody arrest him last night, coming in here and buying an election.
Well, with the check there, under statute 12, I got a text from a friend, and they say it pointed out that extortion and it tied it with voting is a crime under that statute, and it's really not right when you're passing out. You just can't come into the state, I think, and give away $1 million. I mean, that's a lottery.
Unfortunately, apparently we can. And I have to admit that I was very disappointed to see that every state Supreme Court justice, whether on the left or the right, said, no, nothing we can do here. I mean, if you continue to allow this to happen, what should the people think? I honestly, it's like, as long as we keep allowing this, something has to be done. And it really, and I think that it's not enough just for Democrats to say, well, there's not much we can do. We don't have the United States Senate. We don't have the House. We don't have the Wisconsin State Assembly or Senate. Doggone it. You need the energy coming, the fight. And sometimes I don't see that fight enough at this point.
Well, if they think it's legal, I hope they tax the $1 million for Wisconsin. That's 30%.
I would certainly hope so. Especially those two that grabbed those big oversized checks last night.
Yeah, it's 30% on $1 million.
Frankly, it should be more than that, but that's a whole different discussion.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm glad to meet Judge Crawford. I'm really getting out and calling, and people are, like I said, are pretty upset with that. But I feel that she would treat the people equally, and like Schimmel, I feel that he wouldn't be equally to the minorities, which Trump is doing. I feel that it's really kind of sad to see that he's taking racist actions and he's erasing Black history, and now he's going into the Smithsonian. And also, I wanted to mention that you were talking about the Dodgers, and they hauled away these so-called terrorists down south. And one guy said, I'm not a gang person. I've got a tattoo of my soccer team on my back. And you're hauling away people that it's basically due process, what I'm saying, the Fifth Amendment.
Exactly.
That all these people have to go to court, and they're not doing that, and Bondi's not obeying the judge.
She's corrupt to the core. I mean, the Attorney General of the United States, I mean, the level of corruption we are seeing now, I think it's so much that some people, it's too much. It's almost too much to comprehend. There was a pardon of last week, and the guy's lawyer was the brother of Pam Bondi.
I mean, it's just the layers of corruption. It's mind blowing, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, they said we're torching Tulsa cars, and they called these are terrorists. But then what are the people? They don't criticize the people due to the insurrection. You had 1,000 people going in there, and I tell the people, and it just breaks my heart because we lost 5 police officers and 100 police officers were disabled, and they don't call that anything.
Right. No, I mean, the way it is, but hopefully you'll keep tuned in and listen in as I talk to Judge Crawford here coming up in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, well, I hope people will just get out there and vote, and especially the minorities should pay attention, because I don't think Schimmel will treat the minorities right, because what Trump is doing, he's erasing Black history, and it's really a sad state of our country, and I hope people get out and vote, and I really strongly believe that Judge Crawford is the best for our state, and there's some big cases coming up.
Absolutely. Cornell, we got a hard break here in just a few seconds, so we have to cut it off right there. Coming up, Judge Susan Crawford, right after our information update, coming up next here on WXCO.
There we go.
Good morning. Sunny skies here in downtown Wausau at our studios at the corner of Washington Street and North 3rd Street. 26 degrees is the temperature. The time is 9:06. I am Chad Holmes. It is hour number 2 at the Chad Holmes Show on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices, and Alexa by searching WXCO and on the Civic Media app. Of course, tomorrow it is Election Day. And don't forget, 8 o'clock sharp, live election night analysis, results, and everything else right here on WXCO and the Civic Media Radio Network. And of course, the top race on the ballot is for the state Supreme Court. Very, very significant race. And we are very happy to welcome back to the program to talk about it, heading down the stretch towards Election Day, Judge Susan Crawford on the ballot tomorrow here in Wisconsin. Judge, thank you again for joining us and spending a few minutes with us.
Yeah, good morning, Chad. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Let's jump right in. I want to start off with your reaction to what we saw last night with Elon Musk after spending millions and millions of dollars in terms of lifting Brad Schimmel's campaign, on what we saw last night. Your general impression on last night and maybe the whole Musk effect on this election.
Yeah, well, it was kind of a bizarre event, pretty wide-ranging comments by Elon Musk, not actually a lot of focus on the election, which I thought was sort of interesting. He did not have that much to say about Brad Schimmel. But obviously, he's handing out $1 million checks at that event, and I think Wisconsinites should really be outraged by that. We have the richest man in the world wading into a state judicial race, trying to buy a seat on the Supreme Court, and it's not democratic. It's not what should be happening here.
The decisions that will be made by whatever Supreme Court is seated after the election will affect the lives of Wisconsinites on a daily basis, not Elon Musk on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
What do Wisconsinites who have their lives that will be affected one way or the other after this election, what should they be thinking about when it comes to you as a jurist? What are the things you're going to bring to that group with some very important issues coming in front of that court over the next couple of years? What will you bring to the discussion and to the decision-making process over the next couple of years?
Yeah, well, thanks for that, Chad. You know, I've worked throughout my entire career as a lawyer and now as a judge to protect the rights of Wisconsinites under our laws and under our Constitution. You know, I started out as a prosecutor at the Wisconsin Department of Justice, working to make sure we had safe communities and that people who had committed violent crimes were off our streets and that crime victims' rights were protected in the process. And then later as a lawyer, I worked to protect the rights of Wisconsinites in our courts, standing up for things like voting rights and reproductive freedom and the rights of workers. And that I want voters to know that about me, that I have fought for them in our courts. And now as a judge, that's what I do every day, case by case, just always standing up for Wisconsin values and Wisconsin families when I'm sitting behind the bench. And that's what I'll do on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. My sort of fundamental judicial philosophy is that we have laws and we have a constitution to protect the rights of Wisconsinites. And I interpret them to carry out that purpose, and that's what I'll do on the Supreme Court.
You use the term rights, and I think that in this era, there's a lot of the rights of the average citizen, whether it's in Wisconsin, whether it's throughout the country, that are under attack by the forces of power, the forces of money. How do you look at the whole system? I feel there's cracks, and I think one of the aspects that's been talked about a little bit more recently, especially at the national level, but it could just as easily occur at the state level if the same mindset goes in, is the belief that the justice system does believe in justice. Could you maybe talk about what you see, what you think, again, beyond even beyond this race, but the whole idea of justice for the average person?
Yeah, you know, I think money is really a corrupting force. We've seen in this election that, Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, has come in and spent now upwards of $25 million on this race. And he is out trying to buy off people's votes. And my opponent, Brad Schimmel, seems okay with that. He's not said a single word of criticism or asked Elon Musk to back down or to stop trying to bribe voters in Wisconsin. So that's really pathetic, in my opinion. This is a race where we have a extreme partisan politician who is willing to, be bought off by the highest bidder, and the highest bidder is the richest man in the world here. And we've seen Elon Musk out in Washington, D.C., trying to dismantle broad swaths of the federal government without even knowing what those folks do, with really serious, with consequences that are so serious that then a week later they try to undo what they've done because they don't have a plan. And none of that is about justice for Wisconsinites. None of that is about the role of our Wisconsin Supreme Court in making fair, impartial interpretations of our laws that should not involve any kind of a partisan agenda.
And I guess before we do run out of time, because I know you're very, very busy, consequences. And I think one thing that people have noticed in the last 2.5 months since the new administration has come in is that there are consequences in elections that a lot of people say, boy, I really didn't think that would happen, or I didn't think that he would actually do that. When it comes to different issues here in Wisconsin, whether it is abortion, whether it is voting rights, whether it is even, healthcare and things like that, these are issues that come in front of the court, and there are consequences to whoever takes that seat, correct?
Absolutely. And I think, reproductive freedom is a really good example of that. And there was a period of time after the Dobbs decision, the decision that overturned Roe versus Wade, when doctors couldn't be sure that 1849 abortion ban, criminal abortion ban that bans just about all abortions, whether that law was in effect or not. Ultimately, after a period of time, a judge put that law on hold while the case was moving through the courts. But while that law could have been in effect, doctors were afraid of getting punished. They were afraid of getting charged with felonies. And during that period of time, and I've heard this from a number of people on the campaign trail, both women and healthcare professionals, women had to leave the state of Wisconsin to get healthcare. And these are not situations where somebody was seeking to just voluntarily terminate a pregnancy. It's one where they had a very wanted pregnancy and were having really significant complications, and they had to leave the state to get health care. So these are some life and death issues, Chad. There's a lot on the line. And
real quickly to wrap it up, as you come to the finish line of this election race, you've gone through a lot. Any regrets on throwing your hat in the ring? Because I imagine going up against the richest man in the world is something you weren't expecting. How do you feel as you get to the finish line?
Yeah, there have been a lot of crazy twists and turns in this race, Chad, but I haven't regretted it for 1 minute. And I'm proud of the race that I ran. I think we stuck with our principles. I've told the truth about who I am as a person and what kind of justice I want to be on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. So I'm putting my trust in the voters to make the right decision in this race and put a judge on the Supreme Court that wants to protect their rights under our laws and not a partisan politician. So I'm asking everybody who's listening to the show today to make sure they get out and vote, and I'm asking them to vote for me tomorrow.
Judge Susan Crawford on the ballot for the Wisconsin State Supreme Court. Thank you again, and best of luck as you finish up this race.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Again, very great to have a chance to spend a few minutes with Judge Crawford. And again, there's so much you could be talking about. And that's the thing about elections these days. So often we will see a situation where what is talked about in a great majority of the time that is spent, whether it's through the media, whether it's through campaign stops, whether it's through commercials, are not the important aspects. That it's a situation where you feel like we're taking our eye off the ball. And I think one of the points I did want to make was the idea that when you look at consequences, there are consequences in a vote. There are consequences in terms of who you have serve in a certain position. And you see, I've seen a lot of stories in the last 2 months from folks who say, I didn't think that Trump would really do that, or that Musk would really do that within his Doge committee, or I'm really surprised, or if I'd known this. Well, the information is out there. It was out there for that election. The information is out there for this election. I think that Judge Crawford and Brad Schimmel have both put out who they are. I think there's a pretty good idea on who these folks are. And
agreed.
Something that Pat Kreitlow said when we talked to him last Thursday, and he said this before to me as well, that he talked to somebody that he knows, somebody that he considers a friend, but has voted for Donald Trump. And his friend had said, yeah, I know Donald Trump is lying, but he tells the lies I want to believe, or along those lines. It's like
I just don't understand.
I don't understand that either. But at the same time, it is a situation that you shake your head, because I think people do know deep down the people they vote for, even when they're saying afterwards, "Oh, I didn't think this was going to." People have to, I think, take a longer and harder look within themselves. It's so easy to blame Musk. It's easy to blame money. It's easy to blame the candidates. But at the same time, there is a responsibility for us as voters
Absolutely.
to take the long look at the information that we have and to make the best decision possible in order for us to be able to make those good decisions, to be able to make the choice to strengthen our system, to strengthen our communities. And it really is a situation that is important, very, very important, to make those decisions in a right way, not in the wrong way, when you do go to the voting booths starting tomorrow. So again, thanks to Judge Susan Crawford for spending a few minutes with us here this morning on the program. The time is 9:18. More to come here on WXCO.
Responsible, practical.
Life is so strange when you don't know how can you tell where you're going to. You can't be sure of any situation. Something could change, and then you won't know. Where do we go from here? It seems so near, just as far beyond as I can see. I still don't know what this all means to me. I have nowhere to go.
Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM. Mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO. And on the Civic Media app. Again, sun is shining here in north central Wisconsin. It was a rough weekend weather-wise, I tell you. We saw the heavy rain. We saw some flooding. We saw some freezing rain. We saw the ice. We saw the snow. And we're taking a deep breath here today. But then by tomorrow night, we're going to see, again, some snow, some more ice, and then a little rain. Man, oh, man, it just continues. But again, we will get through it. Today's the final day of March. We'll be into April. Spring will get here eventually. In fact, our spring high school sports coverage will begin later in the week on Friday. We're scheduled to have baseball with Wausau West against Antigo, but they're playing outside. And the way the things are right now, I don't think it's going to be ready. That field's going to be ready. But the good news is the Wausau West softball team is playing in an event over at DC Everest in the Greenheck Turner Community Center. They actually have indoor areas where they play softball. So they're going to be playing. Yeah, they're going to be playing softball indoors on Friday and Saturday. It's a big event. A lot of teams there, and West will be playing Lakeland on Friday, and Eau Claire Memorial, I believe it is, on Saturday. And the plan would be, if there's no baseball on Friday, we'll do the softball game at 3:00 on Friday, like Warriors and Lakeland. And then on Saturday, we are already scheduled to bring you the Warriors against Eau Claire Memorial at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. So our spring high school sports schedule will get underway on Friday and Saturday, either baseball or softball, but likely it'll be both softball both days on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. And again, we're working on the issue on 98.9 right now. We are on the air on 1230. We're on the air online. We're on the air on YouTube. We're on the air everywhere.
We still have a show.
But unfortunately, right now, that ice storm has caused some issues with our 98.9 transmitter. So that's being worked on. And again, we apologize for any of the issues for folks trying to tune in on 98.9 WXCO as opposed to all of our other ways of listening. That's one of the good things about modern technology, is that you have so many different ways to tune in. You can tune in on the FM, you can tune in on the AM, you can tune in on your internet, on your web page. You can go to mobile devices, Alexa, YouTube, so many different ways to get this show. And one of the ways is down right now, and that's 98.9. So again, we are working on that and hoping to have that fixed up very, very soon. Hey, coming up at the end of the program, I know we had Judge Susan Crawford on, obviously, in the last segment. Normally we talk about what we have coming up at the end of the show as part of our daily history lesson and our number for the day quiz. Give you the topic normally in that first segment, but we had an important guest join us.
Absolutely.
So what we are going to do is talk about it now. As at the end of the show, the final couple of minutes, we always finish things up with the number for the day quiz. And we give Ian that quiz, 3 different choices. 1 is correct, 2 are incorrect. And so based on the math, 33%, 1 out of 3 is the goal for the week.
That's right.
Above 33% is a passing grade. Below 33% is a failing grade. Last week, you brought the drama.
Yeah.
You were incorrect on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That meant you had to get Thursday and Friday right
Yes,
in
I
order to get
did.
a passing grade, and you were able to do so. Got it right on Thursday, got it
Ooh.
right on Friday.
Yeah, that was a close week.
But we don't want you to do that again this week. We want you to get off to a better start this week.
Yeah, I'll start off with a win on a Monday.
Make it easier, because then also we still want you to get a winning week, which is more right than wrong.
Absolutely.
We want you to at least match your all-time best, which is 4 out of 5. And we're still hoping that you're able to find a way to get the perfect week, 5 out of 5. And the only way you can do that is to get it right on Monday.
Yep.
So the topic
That was the first step.
for today.
Okay.
Time to give you that topic so you can think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
The topic is tips.
Tips.
You know, when you give
Like
a
helpful advice or
no,
tips at restaurants?
tips at restaurants.
Okay,
It's
just
gonna,
we get that clarification.
it's going to involve tips at restaurants. So, you know, be thinking about
my
that.
dad has always wanted me to figure out. It's just like anytime he tells me, okay, we just finished our meal, we got the check. What is 15% of the total? I'm like, Dad, do we have to do this every time?
I know exactly right. So,
I used to have like a tip calculator on my phone. That way, you put in the total amount, and it would give you a certain tip amount based on a certain percentage. I don't have that anymore because my dad thinks it's cheating, but he wants me to use my head. So,
I think that's a good way
Dad,
to
if you're listening, it's about tips today. Let's see if my math is right.
So, yep, that's exactly right. So we'll talk about tips as part of our number for the day and part of our daily history lesson coming up at the end of the program. And coming up after an information update, we have news, weather, sports, entertainment all coming up. We're very happy to, again, welcome some of the members of the cast of Wausau West Theater's upcoming weekend production of All My Sons, one of the classics of the stage, Arthur Miller, one of the great American playwrights. All My Sons coming to Wausau West in their auditorium on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night at 7, Sunday afternoon at 2. And we'll talk to 5 of the members of the cast coming up after our information update. So again, that'll be very cool as we have so many very talented folks hitting the stages around central Wisconsin. It's a busy time when you get into the spring. The schools have their spring shows, and some of the independent groups have their shows, and there's always shows going on at the Grand as well. So we're going to talk about Wausau West, All My Sons, coming up after an information update. News, weather, sports, entertainment, all coming up with Ian Welsh. I'm Chad Holmes. The time is 9:29. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
So true. I'm looking for a long
Oh, just you wait till.
All right. Can you hear me?
Hello, Chad.
Very good.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
I got to make sure I push the right buttons because I'm used to having him push all the buttons.
Yeah, this is great.
Make
I
my
get my own stuff.
different point of view.
Can we turn these knobs up a little
Yep,
bit?
you can.
Okay.
I mean, so whichever one is
there we
yours or that, you can adjust.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's gonna be.
Sorry. Oh my God.
Got to be subtle here.
Yeah.
Subtle.
I knew that was gonna happen.
I'm sorry.
Must have been bad in there because I didn't hear it. I heard it, but it wasn't
Do you want
direct
it
into
down
mine.
further? You want it just a little bit? Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to help
No,
you
no,
out
no.
because
Oh, sorry. I can hear it just fine.
can you hear?
Yes, I can.
This is really it's really hot.
Yeah.
Don't be weird. We're on the radio.
Okay. We're not on
We're not on the
radio.
radio.
We're
This feels like
Practice being practice like you
this
perform,
morning when my mic was really loud because mine's turned up really loud.
Chad.
Oh my God, this morning. You're the only person I could hear.
Oh my god! I can't believe he brought his
Pedal
pedalboard for one song.
And then continued to not be ready with his actual guitar.
And
I'm
then-
stressing out.
and-
I'm so
All
stressed
right,
out
10
right
seconds.
now.
That was my fault. Too early.
Ready to go. Ready to go.
And welcome back. Chad Holmes with you here on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. Time is 9:35. Sun is shining here on this Monday morning. Hopefully you made it through a nasty weather weekend out there. But heading towards April, and always a busy time for a lot of theatrical productions here in central Wisconsin. The spring shows are getting ready, and in fact, coming up this week on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 7 p.m., and then Sunday at 2 p.m. over at Wausau West High School and their auditorium, All My Sons. And again, one of the great shows in American theatrical history, Arthur Miller, and it should be a fantastic time again coming up this weekend. And to join us and talk about it, we don't have just one member of the cast. We don't have two members of the cast. Doggone it. We don't even have three members of the cast. Four? You say, I think our record has been four. And now today we are breaking the record. In fact, there's so many people here. I am sitting in Ian's booth because there's no room for me in my studio. And you know that there's a lot of folks here if I can't even be in my studio. But I'm sitting in Ian's studio using Ian's mic, but very happy to welcome Milo Holthusen, Nolan Mudler, Nolan Travis, Odelia Holthusen, and Liv Pinkert, all from All My Sons. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about is that I've had a chance to talk to, I think, four of the five. I think Liv is the only one that has not been here before.
New blood.
Yeah, exactly right. But, and obviously I communicate with Brad Schmicker, who's your director. And he said, I'm going to bring 5 people over. I said, we'll make it work. We'll find a way to make it work. Because you're a combination of veterans and what he called the new guard. And for the veterans, for the Nolans especially, as you get towards the end here of your high school careers, what does this show mean to you in that respect?
Well, I think it's a great last show to end on. I mean, and I never want to think about it as an end, but it's more of as like obviously it's a stepping off point and everything. But I think that doing this one last show with a very close knit group of people, and being able to do it with all the people that like I've been close to my whole 4 years at West, and reaching a peak, I think, at West when we, I think we're all at very different places from when we were freshmen than we are now, and I think that ending the show with such an emotional piece and that is very close to home, I think is very good for me at least, and I think it just strikes a chord.
Yeah.
Nolan.
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 I mean, just like what Nolan said, doing the show with all of us, it's a close show where everybody in the show needs to be close with each other, and having the cast with such a good bond, it's very like prevalent on stage.
The show itself, and Arthur Miller. I mean, Arthur Miller, I think, is one of those names in American theater that is just amazingly powerful. And I mean, you just go down the list of the shows that he has written and produced. This is I remember because when I was in school in college, I did The Crucible, and it got me into Miller. And actually, I read All My Sons because I thought, I would really like to learn more about Miller because I really was attached to him. And, there's a power behind The Crucible, but there's a power. I mean, you got, Death of a Salesman and the power behind these shows. For folks who are maybe not familiar with this Miller production, what maybe a thumbnail sketch in terms of what All My Sons is about?
Yeah, so I read the show about a year ago. Nolan Mudler had recommended it to me, and there was kind of buzz of it being our show next year. But kind of like a basic overview of the play is it follows a family post-World War II, and it follows the mom and the dad who are kind of grieving the loss of one of their sons who is lost at war right now, and they're trying to kind of come over those emotions. And at the same time, we're finding out new information about the family during the war and kind of all the experiences that go along with grief and hardship.
I guess I should ask each of you, what roles are you playing? We'll start with Milo. What role are you playing?
Yeah, so I'm playing the role of Dr. Jim Bayless. So he's a neighbor of the family and kind of serves as like he's good friends with Chris Keller. So it's kind of a historic friendship, and yeah.
Odelia?
I play the role of Kate Keller, who is the mom of Chris and Larry Keller and the wife of Joe Keller.
And Liv?
I play the role of Ann Deaver. She is, she lives in New York, and she kind of what sets the play in motion, I feel. She kind of is the turning event for a lot of the stuff that comes later.
Nolan Travis?
I play Joe Keller. He's married to Ann. Not Ann. Not Ann. Married to Kate.
That's a different show.
And is the father Chris and Larry.
And Nolan Mudler.
And I play Chris. I'm the son of Kate and Joe. And yeah, I'm Ann's boyfriend, kind of, if you want to call it that, in the 1950s. But yeah, the relationship between my father and my mother and Anne is kind of what sets the play in motion.
For you all as performers, and you said it, I mean, when you talk about war and families who may have lost a child, the emotion as young performers, and obviously, I mean, there's experience there, but what is the process for a show like this? Maybe different than we've talked about, like you've had musicals, we've had other kind of shows. What's been the process for trying to put this show together, a pure drama where you have to go pretty deep? Could you maybe have thoughts on your process to get to where you want to be this weekend?
Yeah, so it's definitely a long, tedious process. Our director, Sarah Rudolph, definitely took a lot of time with us. We spent the first week of rehearsals kind of just reading through the show and kind of talking about what each line means and how it relates to our character and the subtext of each line. And then we spent a lot of time not working on the heavier scenes just so we could really get to know our characters before we started working on the kind of heavier topics throughout the show. And I think it's really important to all of us that we give an accurate representation of grief to our viewers. We want it to make it feel very real to them. And I think that's definitely our goal coming up with the performance this weekend.
Liv, since it's your first time here that I've had a chance to talk to you, what's your experience in theater? How much have you done?
So my theater experience started actually not very long ago. I've only been in 3 musicals, and my first one is actually Beauty and the Beast with Sweda. And that brought my, my theater career, that really skyrocketed my passion for it. And this isn't my first play. My first play was Men on Boats when I was in 7th grade. But I will say this show, it does hit a bit close to home for me. I lost my brother a couple years ago. So it's, I wouldn't say easy, but it's very, I can tune into the emotions very well. And I think that's what helps me, use my acting the best.
Can I ask, you talk about tapping into your emotions. Obviously, those emotions have to be very difficult emotions. Is it hard to ask yourself to reach into those emotions? Or are you able to, in a sense, separate, in some case, that what you're trying to accomplish in a play as opposed to real life? I mean, that seems like that'd be maybe a little bit of a delicate balance.
Yeah, it is definitely, it can sometimes be a bit of a blurry line, but I think I can separate my emotions from the show, but not in a way where it doesn't look real. I can do it in a way where I can express how I feel and what I've gone through, but where I can show it and feel it, but not let it overcome me.
And Nolan, Travis, the difference between, say, a musical and a show like this, because I've had a chance to talk to you, and you have different kinds of shows. What is maybe the particular challenge of a show like this, and maybe what's the best, for lack of a better term, the fun part of a show like this compared to, say, like a musical or a comedy?
Yeah, well, for me personally, this is the first play I've ever done.
Oh, really?
And so the challenging aspect for me was getting the character out without song and expressing the emotions just plainly solely in the words, and no song, nothing like that, getting that to come across. But the fun part about it is it is just words, and you have so much more to work with when trying to find the little things with your character, because there's so many little nuances inside all the text and stuff like that.
And Nolan Mudler, what's been the biggest challenge for you and your role in the show?
I think just keeping it kind of alive, and like Trav said, I think in musicals, you don't have just 15, 20 lines and then there's a song, you know what I mean? You have a lot more freedom, and I think it's good and bad. That means there's a lot more room for error, but I think that in a way it all makes us better actors in finding those little moments and finding not even what's in the words, but just if it's a glance on stage, and just a different inflection, and thinking about what you're thinking in the scene, and how that relates to the words on the page. And I think the biggest challenge for me, at least, is trying to bring some of those things out. I don't want to tell people that my character is angry in the scene, but I want to show that anger, or I want to show that emotion, but I can't show it to this person, but I have to relate to this person. I think it's the beauty of the writing too, and that it's so profound, and just so in depth. And you said it's a Miller play.
Right.
But I think that just adds to how grappling the storyline is.
How long has this process been? When did you start rehearsals?
Pretty short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said that Sarah's directing this one?
Yeah, they're working alongside one another. Sarah does a lot of fine tuning smaller details, and then Brad's helping a lot with kind of the bigger picture, setting up the set, stuff like that. So it's exciting to watch them work together.
Well, I'm gonna toot their horns because, again, I have a long history, because back when they came to Central Wisconsin back in 1991, when they came to UWMC, I was just finishing up my last semester there, and the first show Sarah ever directed, I was in it, and that was fun. And she was an incredibly talented person. I want to ask, in our last couple of minutes, to have that kind of talent with Brad and Sarah, I imagine it's been amazing in terms of your development as actors.
Yeah, it's been fantastic to work with Brad and Sarah, especially throughout our sophomore years and on. Just kind of like you'll work with them on blocking, and then you'll go and talk to Brad or Sarah about the lines, and they'll have all the knowledge about being able to characterize it, and then you go and see how they can create the visual part of the theater, and like seeing our set and the lighting and just all of their knowledge being able to be applied and taught and like given to us as students has been really valuable, and I think it's something that a lot of high school students don't get to work with.
And I think it's interesting too. The first show that they directed at West, they directed similar to how they're doing now, is alongside one of each other. And like you said, Sarah, the smaller details and Brad, the bigger picture. And that's the last time they've directed like this cohesive. And so it's interesting that like their last show their first show with them and our last show with them, they're doing the same thing again.
And again, we got 1 minute to go. It's Monday, and you open on Thursday. Are you there? Are you there? Is this show ready, or are you guys still finding something?
I think there's something to be found every night. You know, that, like you find even in the shows, you know, you make it better and you make it different, and sometimes it doesn't work. But I think that's all part of the process.
But I will say, like it's there. Like we've got the text down. We've got the inflections and the bigger picture of everything coming together is going to be awesome to see this week, but it's definitely there.
And the set, oh my God, the set.
Oh, so cool.
Beautiful.
And one of the fun things is every live performance is different.
Yes.
That's the magic of theater. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 7:00, Sunday at 2 at the Wausau West Auditorium. And Nolan, Liv, Odelia, and Milo, thank you all for coming on in and break a leg.
Thank you so much.
9:49. We'll be right back here on WXCO.
Couldn't take punishment and had to settle down. Now I'm playing it real straight, and guess I cut my hair. You might think I'm crazy, but I don't even care, 'cause I can tell what's going on. It's hip to be square.
And welcome back. Chad Holmes with you here on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM.
mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO and on the Civic Media app. The time is 9:52. It is the final day of March. Yeah, we made it to the end of March. In fact, third month of the year. That means the quarter pole of the year. The quarter pole. Quarter of the way through the year. We're day number 90 of this year. There are 275 days remaining in the
close
year.
to 100 on that number.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. So we're flying right on through. Some famous events have occurred on this date in history. On this date in 1918, daylight savings time went into effect in the United States for the first time. On this date in 1966, the Soviet Union launched Luna 10, which later became the first space probe to enter orbit around the moon. On this date in 1989, WrestleMania 5, pitting Hulk Hogan against Macho Man Savage, became the largest pay-per-view program in cable TV history.
Remember pay-per-view, people?
Yep, remember pay-per-view. On this date in 1995, tragedy, Corpus Christi, Texas, Latin superstar Selena was shot and killed by Yolanda Saldivar, the president of her own fan club. On this date in 1998, God did not appear live at 10 a.m. on Channel 18 as predicted by a Taiwanese UFO cult in Garland, Texas. The group had predicted God's appearance for months. I'm guessing that Channel 18 got a bump in ratings. People were tuned in for the big interview with God.
As soon as nothing happened, I think the ratings went down.
On this date in 2014, the U.S. announced it was on track to enroll 7 million people in government-mandated health insurance programs by the deadline at midnight. Some famous folks are celebrating their birthdays today. Shirley Jones played the matriarch, Shirley Partridge, on The Partridge Family. Shirley Jones is 91 years old today. Actor Christopher Walken, 82 years old. Hard to believe Christopher Walken's 82. He's been around for such a long time.
He certainly doesn't look it.
And he's still working. He'll be in the upcoming Dune Part 2. Actor and poker player Gabe Kaplan from Welcome Back, Kotter, 80 years old today. I both liked him in Welcome Back, Kotter, and I've liked him when I've seen him on the poker tables as well. Former Vice President Al Gore is 77. Rhea Perlman is also 77. She was Carla on Cheers. AC/DC guitarist Angus Young is 70. Actor Ewan McGregor.
One of my favorite actors.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Train Spotting and many other films.
Christopher Robin.
Yep. Ewan McGregor is 54. And Ruby Cruz of Mayor of Easttown and Bottoms is 25 years old today. If you out there celebrating your birthday, happy birthday to you from all of us at 98.9 WXCO.
Happy birthday.
Some special events being acknowledged today. It is Eiffel Tower Day. It is Dance Marathon Day. It is Baked Ham and Pineapple Day.
That sounds good.
It is International Transgender Day of Visibility. It is Crayon Day. It is Farm Workers Day. It is Tater Day. And World Backup Day. So if you're a backup quarterback, today's your day. And time now for our number for the day.
Yes.
And our number for the day quiz. And every weekday we wrap things up, giving Ian the number for the day quiz. 3 choices, one of which is our number for the day. 2 are incorrect. So based on the math, 1 out of 3 correct, 33%. About 33% is the passing grade. Below 33% is a failing grade. But we want more than that. We want a winning week, which is 3 out of 5, more right than wrong. Ian's best week is 4 out of 5. He's done that 3 different times.
Hopefully I can start off on the 5 out of 5 by getting today right.
Yep, we want that 5 out of 5. Have not done it yet.
Oh.
So today, the topic is
tips. Restaurant tips, not helpful tips.
Our number for the day is billions of dollars in tips Americans give each year.
Billions of dollars.
Billions of dollars in tips Americans give each year.
Okay, what are my choices?
Your choices are $10 billion, $40 billion,
okay,
$80 billion,
Ooh. Okay.
So 10 billion, 40 billion, 80 billion.
Well, that's a lot of money, but billions of dollars Americans leave as tips each year. 10 billion, 40 billion, or 80 billion. Ooh, okay. Well, this is going to be a big number, but I'm going to say, I'm going to trust my instincts here. I'm going to say 80 billion. I'm going to go with C. Start off the week. It's my final answer. I'm going with C.
All right. Number for the day. Billions of dollars in tips Americans give each year is $40 billion.
Oh, the middle number.
The middle number today.
Drat. If I can start off on the right.
There you go.
What day?
All
I'll come
right.
back tomorrow and try it again.
We'll start April with a win.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's what we'll do.
First day of April.
Everybody enjoy the final day of March. We'll be back tomorrow. Start off April. Thanks again to Judge Susan Crawford for joining us and the 5 members of the Wausau West cast of All My Sons coming this weekend to the Wausau West Auditorium. Thanks to them for joining us as well. Ian, have a great rest of your day.
You too, Chad. Happy Monday, everybody.
And we will be back tomorrow, Election Day, 8 till 10 a.m. Chad Holmes Show on WXCO.